Hello everybody, this is Gregory with 5-Minute Catholic Apologetics, where 5 minutes of your time may get you to the divine. Today we're going to talk about the number one mistake Catholic parents make regarding their children. Now before we begin, let's start with a prayer. Nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. Gloria Patri et Filii et Spiritui Sancto, secutor in principio et nunc et semper et seculi seculorum. Amen. All right, first let's start with the positive. I think any Catholic parent who has the financial resources or is willing to make the sacrifice to put their children in Catholic schools, that's a great thing. Now we know in the last 30 to 40 years, Catholic schooling ain't what it used to be. Certainly back in the 60s and 50s and before that, it was taught by priests and by nuns. And then after Vatican II, you saw a large departure of priests and nuns, and it's been taught by the lay. That's not to say that the lay are not doing a good job. Just saying that it has changed quite a bit back in the 1940s and 50s, where Catholics were kind of ghettoized in their neighborhoods and they were kind of surrounded by the Catholic faith. And then you saw radical changes. So I think it's good that if you can put your kid in a good Catholic elementary school. I went to Catholic schooling all the way through college. I think that's great. Catholic high schools as a whole, you have to be careful. And then certainly Catholic universities, the large majority of them have been corrupted by postmodernist thinking. And I would not send my kids to the large majority of them. So if you're able to homeschool or to put your kids in a good, sound Catholic school, that's great. Blessings to you. And those of you who are on the fence about it, really think about doing it, because public school education, there's so many issues that you're dealing with. I mean, not just like critical race theory, but dealing with open homosexuality in the hallways. And trust me, my experience, trust me, I know. I used to work at public schools. I know what it's like. It's a cesspool of cesspools for your kids to be in. So let's start with the positives. You're homeschooling, you're using a good Catholic curriculum, that's great. I laud you for that, and I wish all of us could do that. Now, that being said, I think the number one mistake that Catholic parents make, whether their kids are in public school, and really honestly, I would tell you that is the number one mistake you're making there. But public school, Catholic school, homeschool, you're not teaching them apologetics. Now, I know some of you are going to be like, of course I teach my kids apologetics. Okay, well, hear me out. Teaching your kids about the faith is not the same thing as teaching them apologetics. So catechesis is different than apologetics. So, for example, and again, this is a general video. I know some of you are like putting them in front of a lamp, right? And like, what are the four Marian dogmas? How would you defend the perpetual virginity of Mary? You better get this right. You're going to hit it with a ruler. So I get some of you are like that. But the large majority don't like the way I was raised, right? I went to a Catholic school. It's like we would learn the 15 mysteries of the Rosary. We would learn the act of contrition. We would learn our church history. We'd learn about the saints. And we would learn about transubstantiation and the Trinity the best that we could understand it, because it's very difficult to understand. But we weren't taught apologetics. And the statistics are pretty clear. It's something like only 12% of Catholic kids end up being practicing Catholics when they're adults, if that go to Catholic schools. And when they go to public schools, it's only like 6%, 3%. So, I mean, as it is, we're like Sisyphus pushing the boulder. I mean, the chances are very slim, because the biggest influencers in America right now is not you and me anymore. It's Hollywood, social media, and all these things we've talked about. So what is my recommendation to you? Absolutely, you got to teach them the faith. You got to get good, sound catechesis. Start with the books, age-appropriate books when they're toddlers, and work the way up. So absolutely teach them the catechism, like backwards and forwards, but you got to teach them apologetics. I mean, literally sit them down, give them scenarios. How would you defend the Catholic Church's teaching when someone says that salvation by faith alone is sufficient? How would you refute sola scriptura? How would you defend the four Marian dogmas? These are things you have to give them these tools. A lot of us think just by osmosis we take our kids to mass, and by osmosis they're just going to learn the faith, or they're going to learn the faith in the 10-minute homily. No. I mean, it's great that they're going, don't get me wrong. I mean, they're receiving the graces from going. But you have to teach them. This is our baptismal vow that we made. The onus is on us in our family, godparents, to teach them the faith. But you have to do more than teach them the faith. You have to teach them apologetics, because when they go to college, and even if they go to like Ave Maria University or whatever, but later in their life, they are going to be surrounded by Protestants and certainly by atheists, because we know those numbers are growing, and they're going to be attacked. They're going to be attacked on whatever fill in the blank is. God doesn't exist. Christianity has been bad for the world. Why do you worship statues? Why do you worship Mary? Why do you pray for the dead? Why are you cannibals? You know, whatever it is. And the best tool you can give your kids, because it will empower them when you give them these tools. The catechesis is great. The knowledge of the faith is great. But you got to give them apologetics. I mean, look at 1 Peter. 1 Peter talks about it. We have to make a good defense of the faith. We're all required to do it, and a large majority of us, including myself, fall short of this. But we have to rectify that with our kids. So yes, teach them the faith, protect them from the insidious, nefarious values that are of this culture. Remember what it says in James and 1 John, those who love the world hate God. But you gotta teach them apologetics. So sit them down and train them how to defend the faith. It's crucial for them as they get older, because they'll be able to defend the faith, and they're also more likely to stay in the faith, because God knows what this society is going to be like in 20, 30 years. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. If you don't think apologetics is that important, apologetics along with catechesis. Of course, catechesis is extremely important, but you got to teach them how to defend the faith. I'd like to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Share with like-minded people. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.